What's going on, guys? John with the ProCut. I'm down here in a customer's basement. This is the next job. It's going to be set up as a gym. So what we're going to be doing is sheetrocking in all the walls, but the ceiling we're going to leave open and paint it flat black. So the first thing I did was clear everything out of this room, and then we're going to add some wiring so we can add a few more lights down here since it's going to be a gym, and then we're going to go ahead and start painting. All right, now everything's out of the room. I've taped some of this ductwork that was hanging down. I stapled up the one insulation that was coming down. I've got that side tarped off. I've tarped off those gas lines and the table and the doorway. So now I can go ahead and prime my paint sprayer and go ahead and close up this vent here as well. So if the HVAC kicks on, it's not going to suck paint and blow it out through the house. That would be bad. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit these HVAC lines with some primer, and that's got a bit more of stick than regular paint. So I'm going to cover that stuff with some primer, and then I'm going to start spraying this flat black. I don't know when the battery cut out on the time lapse, but I've got all the flat black sprayed. Just needs to dry now. I mean, I wish I had another gallon or two. This thing sucked up 5 gallons of paint like you wouldn't believe. And it's a little light in a few spots. So I'm looking around with the big light off, and I missed the spot here because that's over top of this table. So I'm going to definitely have to get another gallon because I've missed that spot there, and there's a few spots on this end that don't quite have enough paint on them. I missed a spot there and there, so yeah, it's gonna take one more gallon should do it. I might get 2 just to be safe. Got another gallon of black, and I fixed all the spots that I missed, and now I'm starting to hang the sheetrock. I've got 3 pieces up. Every single corner in here is going to be a full cut. So I just started where I could put full sheets. I'm going to have to do some cutting here around the computer wires. So I'm going to skip a section and start again with the full sheet. And then this gas lines will just get pulled out from the wall, and the sheetrock will go in behind them. I've got to get another vent to put on the inside of this vent. That way they get cross ventilation through here for the HVAC. Other than that, it's looking good, and yeah, I really dig the flat black ceiling. It hides everything, gives it a nice industrial look. Now here's what I'm doing, because these studs are all 16 on center. So I measure over 16 inches and 32 inches, and I start 2 of my screws. So then I can hold it up into place, screw those 2 in, and then screw out the rest of the field and edge. Now this stud, when I set my board up there, this edge wasn't catching this stud. So I've looked at it, and what I've noticed is it just bows out real bad. So I'm going to put it up into place as normal, and then I'll push this stud over and then go ahead and screw it in, and it'll all be good. And I also, there was a random wire hanging down here that had a male plug on it. So I just took the male plug off, put the wire up behind the studs into the ceiling space, put the end back on, and then just coiled it up and left it up there. That way, if they ever need it in the future, it's there, but it's out of the way, because the current homeowner doesn't know what it's for. So it's good to go. So with a collated screw gun, you're going to slide your screws into the track and then up into here, and then you have 2 empty spots. So you're going to click it to the second empty spot, so the next one will be a screw. And then you also have to set your depth gauge to the length of the screw that you're using, and then you're ready to go. Now with this sheet, it had to be cut off for the corner, so I put a full sheet in and I marked the sheet next to it so I could get my measurement to cut it off of that edge and then put it up into the place the same way I've been doing the other ones. I've got all the sheetrock hung. I had to disconnect the cameras and hook them back up, and now there's a slight issue with those. With the homeowner will check those out. So now the mudding can begin. So I've got the fire coat done, all except for the corners. The reason I didn't do the corners because I want to mix together some hot mud for the corners, because it takes a lot of mud to fill a corner. So I want to do that with hot mud. I used premix for this fire coat. I've got it all finished. It's time to call it a night. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm back down here in the basement, and I've got a second and third coat on the majority of the mud work. The corners are going to need a little bit more work, but the main walls should just need a quick light sanding in a couple of spots, and we'll be ready to go ahead and start painting. So that's what's on the agenda for today, and by the end of today, this room should be ready for flooring and extra lighting. Now I've got one coat of paint on, except for the corners and the places where I had some wet mud. Other than that, I've got a coat on the room. That wall over there had quite a bit of repair work where I put a little extra mud on, so I waited on painting that one. Same with that corner and all the corners, but the majority is done now. First coat. Now all the drywall work is done in the corners. I've got the second coat of paint on the majority of the room, as well as the cut-in. So just the corners and a few places on the wall are still going to need a second coat, which will be a little bit later this afternoon after this coat dries. And we'll have this thing wrapped up today. Now all the sheetrock and paintwork is done. So all that's left in here is to clean up a little bit more and trim it out. And I've noticed a few spots on the black that have to be touched up. Other than that, she's good to go. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, smash that thumb. Appreciate you guys.